Hi, welcome to Tim's Garage. Remember the days before air conditioning when you used to have to spray mist on your face and let air cool you down? We're going to do the same kind of thing to our car. Now it's not an intercooler sprayer kit, this is actually internal, and what we're actually going to hook up today is alcohol injection. We're going to put our car on meth. Now, before I start, a bit of a disclosure, make sure you know your laws. In some countries, in some states, this is illegal. In other countries, it's fine. It depends on your country and what kind of politics goes behind the scenes. In many countries, this is actually an accepted practice. Methanol is put through the car, it's put into certain tanks because it's got from what I understand, a lower freezing point, so it won't freeze as quickly as regular water. In other countries like Australia, this is actually not allowed on the streets. So make sure whatever you hook up, however you set up this system, that it is able to be removed or turned off or deleted if you need to do that in your country. But we're going to put our car on meth for some track days and some dyno runs. The easiest way to do this is to buy a kit. I've sourced some second-hand and brand new parts for kind of my own needs for this kit. So I've actually got a second-hand pump, snow performance pump, which is going to pump the methanol from the bottle into the engine. It's going to pump it through some hard line that also has a one-way valve which will stop it from sucking methanol if we're not on boost. So the way that this works is that there is a sensor that runs off your boost control. When this car, being a boosted car, when it hits a certain level of boost that I set, it will then activate the pump and spray methanol into this, which fits just before the throttle, just after the throttle body. It's like a throttle body spacer. Comes in this nozzle. You've got different size jets which allow different amounts of mist to come through, and because this is quite a little bit of, there's an alcoholic content in there, that basically just cools that hot air that's going into the engine. There's obviously some minor benefit being a flammable substance, but we're not actually looking for, if we wanted more power, we'd do almost the exact same setup for NOS. We're not looking for power, we're actually looking for cooling. The reason being that we're actually looking for less knock. We actually want to be able to push more reliable boost, which means more heat. We want to control that heat so we lower the knock of this engine. The one that I built last year, this car has higher compression pistons, which increases the knock, so we've got to get the coolant temperatures down, which means we either go to an E85 fuel or we go for meth. So we're going to try for meth for now, see if that works, and we'll go from there. So, some way to activate this pump, which will then spray just before our throttle body. We've bought from Nate at New Age Auto Parts in the States an AEM kit, which is an adjustable kit. So there'll be a little bit of wiring to do with this, and what this will allow us to do is adjust when, at what pressure the meth starts and till what level. So when does it start and when does it hit full? And it will actually progressively time the meth spray on that. So if I wanted to come on at 10 pound of boost, I set this to 10, and then if I say that 20 is my full boost, between 10 and 20 it'll give a nice linear progression of spray through that nozzle so that it's a progressive boost. So as the boost, more heat, it'll allow for that. So that's kind of a cool thing. The other switch that you can get for this is just a simple on-off, gives you max spray as soon as you hit the boost. It's a bit more mechanical, just runs off your boost line, one of your vacuum lines, same as if you ran a boost gauge. You just run another cord to the on-off switch, set the dial that you want to turn on, say whatever it is, 15 PSI or something, and it's just on. But we're going to go for progressive, a little bit more tunable that way. We're going to fit that before the throttle body, see what angle that fits on best, and we're going to find a location for our pump to run that. We've already pulled the front grille off. I would assume that if you don't know how to pull the front grille off your car, I would suggest that you get somebody to help you with this install. It's not a 101 kind of thing, it's a little bit more advanced, and once again I don't want people to blow up their engines because of something that I've told them. I had always intended to put this car on meth, and so when I was building the engine I ran a loom, which you can see here. That loom of wires, a little spaghetti, was run through the firewall and actually comes through into, car's locked, fantastic, you can see on the ground there some spaghetti. So that's ready to go, and we've got our diagrams and a couple other things there that we'll use to work out where everything goes with that. The other things that we've done in preparation was that while the water bottle was out, we're going to use this to begin. There's different options. These kits come, I think they come with a water bottle. It's Devil's Own. I think it's a 5 litre, which is like a gallon. I think that's right. Tank, could be less. But we're going to use our wind washer bottle for now, just because it's there. And I don't drive crazy on boost all the time, so I don't intend to go through tons and tons of meth. If I start tracking regularly, then we'll look to quite a large option in the boot and run the lines from there. But at the moment, this is kind of where we're looking at. Just worked out where I'm going to fit this one on this car. It's kind of concealed for when I'm not using it, but can also take it off when I'm not doing track stuff. Make it all nice and good. Very happy. That has gone in really nicely. We've run out of space in this car. That's the biggest thing to place things, and obviously I've got a boot, but I still actually want to drive this car to be able to put things in it and go for a cruise, and just spent ages looking for that bolt. I reckon it's just sitting right there. Spotted. Anyway, but look, that's on. That's excellent. That's rock solid. That's not going anywhere. Good. Had to re-drill a bolt to mount that there. Fantastic. We've run our feed line already into it because that would be hard to reach once it's in, but I can still access the outline there, which is, it's a fairly short distance, so this is going to be quite an effective unit. It's not pumping over a huge distance, so there won't be, not that it really matters, but there won't be a lag in this. So now I'm going to start the electrics on this, and I will then start some of the hardware that needs to go to the throttle body, which is located back under here, which may require just getting some access in there, so I may need to take some parts off, intake and those things, just if I need to remove this pipe, this piece of intercooler hose, which I may well have to do that I've got to undo some of that, and my blow-off valves. Recirc piping on that is quite intricate because I had to, you can sort of see it pieces and actually bends a little bit in there and goes down to clear some pipes, so it's not a straight hose. Usually they're nice and straight and efficient, but running a lot of extra stuff on this, so not as straight and as efficient. So anyway, back into it. So anytime I'm doing electrics, generally I'll mock it up, depending on what it is. Some things you can get away with not a lot of current and just have a go. Other things I'm quite paranoid about, and I want to make sure everything's 100%. This, because it's going to be running 12 volts straight from the battery, it's not going to kill me, but it's going to give me a decent jolt if I get something wrong, and I don't want to fry anything. So what I'm going to do is follow the instructions that I've got here. It came with the progressive controller kit, wire it up, and then just test that it's working by kind of triggering an override, or I think there is a test button on there, so we'll give it a test and see if that's all working, and then if that's going, that's great. But for tonight, I am doing this in sections. You'd probably be able to smash this out in a day, no worries, but I am doing this on and off, so because I'm on holidays with my family, I want to make sure they get plenty of my time as well. So what I will do is, if this loom is run it, I can almost run it alongside or underneath the battery and bring it up underneath the box here. On this controller, just make sure you've got your, you know what you're doing with your instructions, that's all. For this one, orange and pink go to the actual pump itself. Allow enough pressure for some reason, so let's see if this thing's spraying. There we go. Nice methanol mist. You find all the cuts on your hands. Oh, nice. Well, we know that's working. Just got to diagnose that bit, so I will disconnect that. So what this is these, I walk back inside and my wife will be like, what do you smell like? Meth. There's a valve that you place fairly close, if you can, to the actual injector itself. This little puppy. Try and get it as close as you can. The theory being, once again I'm no professional expert on any of this stuff, but the train of thinking is that when this shuts off, if you're still running some vacuum, even though the booster's stopped, your car's still sucking air in, you will actually suck wherever your reservoir is. It'll actually suck methanol or whatever additive, whatever mixture or whatever you're trying to get in through. So you put a valve in. I think these are gated to a certain pressure. I'll say 16 psi, and that could be wrong, and forgive me if it is, but I seem to remember somebody once saying that. The theory with that is that this pushes the methanol through the line at a certain power, 16 psi, which will then spray that mist. You can see how much volume it was spraying when it was at its max. It's quite a lot, get stuff going everywhere. That's quite a large nozzle, just because it is a big turbo, a big engine, big looking fairly decent horsepower and all that through it. So, but so that you don't just keep sucking fluid through all the time and just end up having two tanks of petrol, basically a tank of petrol and a tank of something else, this valve will allow for normal running. Even a certain amount of boost, it won't allow anything through unless it's pushed. So you can push back on that valve and it'll stop. It's just a one-way valve basically, which is a great idea. So we will definitely be fitting that one when we get back into this in a little bit more detail tomorrow. But for today, that's a bit of a win. Actually, I'm pretty happy with what we've done. Can I get this out? Maybe not. A little piece of hose that I used. These valves on this, they're just a push-pull valve. So if you push that on, push it all the way in, it won't come out. It's quite firmly on there until you push the little red tab up. So push it in, and once that tab's up, it releases the valve. You can see it actually crimps the edges and does all sorts when you try and pull them out. So you obviously don't want any boost leaks because it may blow up your engine. Ask me how I know that one. Anytime you're working with electricity, you just want to make sure you're safe. And so just placing in a fuse for this system. Just a waterproof fuse. Quite a decent chunky fuse in there, and that we're just going to put that on the main power line that will run out of. There's a couple of different options with power on these, being that so this is the fuse box in the engine bay, and just wanted to show a couple of options when it comes to some wiring stuff with these. The first one is that from memory, this is actually a positive current there, so you can actually run, and we probably will run this, which will connect to our power. Just want to make sure we've got fuses in stuff so we don't get ourselves in trouble with running too much current without a fail safe, so we want to have a fuse in there. So that will go on, the positive will run off there, and then there's also, you can see our negative actually has another earth there, so if we were to, without actually messing up our battery terminals, running wires, which if you saw my other car, you'll see I've got no issues with that. Then we've got to get an accessory line as well, which is probably the one that's a little bit trickier. Where do you get that one from? So we'll probably grab that from inside. Up our test light. We're going to actually use that test light and run that into the cabin. Not the test light, the light that says the system's working. So I'm going to have two things. One, I'll have a button that will light up to tell me that the system is on, to let me know that the entire meth kit's running, and that will sit into, I've just pulled out one of the switches from inside the car, that will sit there once I screw that in. And this one, I'm going to run up and behind there, and I've just drilled a small hole because I'm picturing that LED light will be quite bright. It's right in my face, and it lines up almost perfectly. Just gotta say, just a bit of a fluke. We've got to get to our throttle body, which is located there, up in there. So to get to that, we're going to take off our pod, blow-off valve, cold pipe that runs underneath there, that shiny pipe in there. Get to the throttle body, pull throttle body off, put in the spacer, put that all back together. We may need to adapt. There's a silicone joiner there, may need a little bit of adaptation. We're going to hardwire the meth cord from this back and sort of join them in the middle somewhere, just so that we're not trying to feed stuff in and connect it that end. Yeah, because that'd just be pretty tricky to get to, so let's get into it. Just put on our spacer and wire up our hard line. Runs down here really nicely. Hardly even see it, you can't see that one-way valve there. Tested it out and see a little bit of wet stuff there, which shows me that it's working. Spraying meth into there, it's a pool on the ground. You can see that underneath there. Shows me once again that meth's working, the kit's working, it's good. Pump it all back up and go for a drive. Woohoo! Getting close to the end of this. All I'm doing now is just mounting the actual control unit. I'm going to put it in the glove box. I've drilled a hole in the side there to fit the cord through. It'll be a bit ugly, but I want to fit this unit about there. If that's doable and run the cord there, it gives me all the base, the glove box there, and all I have to do is pop it down. Obviously 90 pounder boost is the max. Yeah, that'll fit in there really nicely, easy to get to, and we're just going to use a couple of cable ties to hold that in place. Yeah, I haven't actually driven this car for a while. This is the first time out in maybe even a month since I've actually driven the car properly. Just doing it around some of the suburbs, trying it out. Relocated the breather, and we've installed a meth kit. They're the two jobs that I guess this trip is testing out. Just checking it for heat, checking it, yeah, basically just to make sure everything's running nicely. I have the air conditioner on because it's a crazy hot day today. Although it looks like it's raining, it is muggy. The meth kit at the moment is just, yeah, should be, oh, it is, because we actually wired it into the, there was an auxiliary power accessory, that's a better one, accelerator, I don't know what I was trying to say. There's an accessory power line that you got to run for the kit, so you have consistent power. Most electrical stuff do this. You have a consistent power, you have an earth, and then you have one that runs off your accessories that sort of works as the actual power. So the actual unit itself, from what I understand, seems to have an inbuilt solenoid in it with a fuse, a couple of things. So we're going to whip around here and we'll just see if the car's holding boost normally, which I think it is. Perfect, that was full boost for this tune anyway. It's pretty good, pretty happy with that. Got up to 60, maybe 61. That was fine. Then I can turn this system on. So now the meth system's on, but the car's not tuned for it. So I actually don't expect that to work at all, to be honest, because it's not tuned. Kind of expect, if anything, it'll kind of bog it down. Yeah, it looks like it's going to come on at 10. It's going to come on pretty hard. So I'll turn the other bit up. Roads for this. That did come on. It's quite nice. That's it. So that's our yeah, that's our meth kit ready to go. So we're gonna start doing some more tuning and stuff with that. Turn it off for now. Very happy. Thanks for watching, guys. That's the meth kit install on the MPS. I'll see you next time. The next job we do on this car is coilovers. We're going to be doing a review of those and a heap of diff stuff. The next video we're working on the territory, so look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, see you later.